At the very peak of the market for residential, you guys sold $1.8 billion.
Yes, and we finished the last sale. You know, the buyers were great. You know, they obviously struggle to close with the you know, the market and the environment, but they closed, and you know, they were great to work with, and it was a great sale for us. Look at it now. I don't think I could have gotten that price. I think that's pretty obvious, and you know, I had inherited a huge tax burden that I, you know, I had no choice, you know, whether I was going to hold on to them or not. I would have sold them regardless, but you know, there's other, you know, we're diversifying. My father didn't believe in diversification, and you know, I learned diversification early, so selling that gave us enough diversification to where we can really concentrate on 9 West 57th Street and Freedom Plaza. And those are our two priorities in New York City right now. And when I say 9 West 57th Street, I mean 4 West, 7 West, the assemblage across the street. That's one thing, and then we have Freedom Plaza. And that falls into our city region. We have 7 other regions in the company. The biggest one is the North region, which is Kansas and Colorado. And I spent 25 years building that. And
what did you build there? Commercial or residential or?
All right. So I've been trading commodities probably since I was, I don't know, 14. And you know, I really understand the commodity market. I got into grains, and I understood the arbitrage right away. I went out to Wichita with my wife. I was married at 21, so kind of a different life from a lot of you guys. You know, I went into another industry. I saw potential there. I saw that farmland was very undervalued at the time. I was buying land at $200 an acre, taking a federally subsidized farm credit loan, which I use up until this day. I've stopped buying farmland because it's too expensive now, but I went out there, I learned from the actual farmers, you know, that took me in their houses, me and my wife, and then one farmer would lead to another farmer, and they really hammered into me winter wheat. And that's what I was going to learn about, was winter wheat, the varieties of winter wheat. Now remember, I was a commodity trader. I don't know anything about agriculture. I grew up on 49th and 1st Avenue, okay? I lived in the city 18 years, you know? I went to Horace Mann for 9 years. I went to Dwight for a little bit. I went to Trinity Pauling, and I finally graduated from Columbia Prep. No agriculture background, okay? I went to URI a couple of years, got bored. My father wanted me to work with him, came back, and then we started working together. After a couple of years, I moved out west with my wife, and I saw the potential in agriculture. And you guys...
How was it working with your father?
You know, we worked for 20 years together, you know. It was challenging. Yeah, I'm not going to say it was easy, and you know, it was challenging because we didn't really see eye to eye on running a business, but we had some good times. We had some really good times too. So, you know, but you know, my brother and I, you know, growing up, you know, it wasn't easy. So I went out to Kansas, and you know, I lived in a tract home with my wife, and you know, we didn't have much money.
But that must have been strange. I mean, your wife was like, "I married a billionaire. Why am I living in a tract home?" Like it's like a false bill of goods.
I wasn't the billionaire. My father was.
Right.
You know, my father. You know, if you know anything about my father, my brother and I didn't really get trust funds. You know, and like you know, he was New York real estate. And that's it. He didn't build in Boston. He didn't build in Washington. It was Manhattan, and that's what he concentrated on. He did an amazing job putting 9 West 57th Street together, and he did an amazing job with putting different properties together. Running them, that's where we clashed. So, let me finish the story with the ag company. I moved out west. I learned about farming. I learned about a new industry. I learned about food production at the perfect time, right around 2000. And I saw the value in farmland and how I could use it with my commodity skills as far as hedging, locking in my prices. Futures trading is totally different than stock trading. You have months, you have limits, you're controlling. So let's say wheat right now is $7 a bushel, okay? Every contract's 5,000 bushels. So obviously that's $35,000. You don't have to put up $35,000 in the futures market. At the time, it was 2,000. I think they raised the limits. I don't know. But you could control a lot of wheat for a little bit of money. You could control a lot of gold for a little bit of money. But to futures trade, you need to know ounces, golds in ounces, oils in barrels, platinum, 50 ounces, gold, 100 ounces. You need to know these things. You need to know that you're going to buy an expiration date. So when you buy a commodity, it's going to expire. And when it expires, you have two options. You take delivery of the physical commodity, three options. You take delivery of the contract where you keep it at the brokerage firm, you pay for it, or you roll. And a lot of people roll when they're in commodities, meaning, let's say right now, I own July wheat. Well, in a month from now, I'm going to have to roll that July wheat. I probably roll it to December. And sometimes it's inverted and you can take advantage of it. Commodity market, that's where I really got into agriculture that way. And then I saw the value of farming. I learned about farming, and I went at it.
Stefan, I want to you talked about diversification. Now you own 2 railroads. You own solar farms. You own a ton of land. I don't know how many thousands of acres. How much land do you own? Agricultural land?
I think I'm the 25th biggest landowner, but that's not important to me. Those numbers don't mean anything to me. What means something to me is last night we loaded a unit train. And I know it's an ag term, it's another industry, but the importance of loading a unit train allows me to compete with companies so big. And you guys in New York, the biggest 2 companies, their revenues last year, they're great companies, don't get me wrong, SL Green and Vernada are great companies. Their revenues were 1.5 billion, around there, 1.6 billion. You look at Archer Daniels Midland, the company that I'm trying to create in a different way, a farmer-friendly way. Their revenues are 100 billion. You look at Cargill, their revenues are 159 billion. You have companies out there. When you step out of this bubble in New York City that so many of you are in, and it's not a knock on you guys at all. I just stepped out of it into an industry with a lot bigger people. When you go there, it was very hard to get on the railroad. One second. The 110-car train, to put that together took me 18 years. And 110 cars is so important because then now I can compete. Now I'm on the map. I'm the only person, too, other than a cooperative, and then the giants, Conagra, Cargill, Archer Daniels Midland, Bunge. I have 110 cars. I'm trying to create a farmer-friendly elevator. I go to these people's houses. Quentin, my son Quentin and I mean, we spent the whole year, we dedicated 1 week, every other week. I left my home in Florida and went out to Colorado, going to these people's houses, telling them, this is my plan. I got 110 car rail siding. Now I can take your wheat where you're locked into a market where their only choices are these $100 billion companies. So if wheat in Chicago or Kansas City is $5 a bushel, they're going to give them $4 a bushel. What I'm trying to do is take it to the end user. So right now I got on the rail. It was the first train we put together last night. That's why I cut my hand and I have this thing. We loaded it. I got back here maybe 4 hours ago from this. And we loaded a unit train. And in agriculture, it's a significant achievement. I'll say it's the biggest achievement of my life to load that train and send it out. Thank you. I appreciate it. I really do. But I want to talk to you guys about. I'll let you talk 1 second. I'm sorry. I know I ramble. I'll let you guys. I just want you guys to understand. New York is a bit of a bubble, and I want you to understand how the food industry works and how it works with farmers, and how you have these massive conglomerates that are trying to keep it their way. It's been their way for 200 years. My goal is to create an Archer Daniels Midland, maybe a Cargill. I don't know if I can make it that big, but I know I got the right guys in the right place, and I know that I can really create something special out there. And that's what I'm working on. That's why I went out there. Everyone says, why are you not in New York? Why don't you care about New York real estate? Because I'm putting something together in Colorado, Kansas, and in other places that I truly believe I can get up into that category of those companies that I talked about by doing things differently.
Okay, no more farm talk, guys. Come on, this is it. No more farm talk. That stuff is fascinating. I think the whole farm business is incredible. But I sense that you have this sort of a resentment towards New York or the brick city, the concrete city.
Not at all. Look, I grew up here. I like space. I like to be in a house with my kids and have a lot of space. I keep my friends a real tight circle, and most of my time is spent with my kids. New York City, I'm up here every other week. I'm dealing with 9 West. Michael Hirschman, my CEO, has been taking on the casino, which I know we're going to talk about, and I'm more than happy to talk about it. And he's just done a phenomenal job with it. New York is a region in a mini conglomerate right now. It's one of 8 regions.
So there was a lot of rumors about 9 West 57th Street. Like, it's one of the iconic high-rises, commercial office buildings in New York. There was a lot of rumors going around at the time.
Well, I just heard after we closed our last residential sale that 9 West had sold. The press makes mistakes. I can't.
No, but
I can't help
so there was
that.
a lot of rumors about 9 West selling, and it made sense because you were selling other buildings of a portfolio that you never sold anything before. So it made sense that 9 West was also up for grabs.
Understand.
You've sold a lot of buildings. Or do you plan to keep 9 West, or what do you plan to do with it?
I plan to keep 9 West. I plan to have 9 West rented fully. When I took over, our vacancy rate was 50%. Now, my father did things his way. I have it up to 88% right now. And I'm telling you, the way that we're seeing activity with our amenity space, the way we changed the building, with the gym in the basement now, it's going to be beautiful. It's going to have 2 pools in it. With our amenity floor on 27, with the elevators, you're going to see the best commercial building in the world shine at this point. We'll fill it in 18 months, 12 months.
Just personally for me.
And then look, why would I sell it? It's a perfect asset at that point.
I just feel like the whole idea of commercial, we've had a lot of commercial landlords up on stage today, and I feel like they keep talking about amenity space. And the fact is that I don't see people leaving their own gyms to come to the office, to go to the gym at the office. And I just don't see amenities being so strong where they're going to change the culture, the work culture, where people are used to working 2-3 days, or if that. Hey, some people are just
everyone's done really nice. Look at the building 660's done great amenity space. It's important today. Obviously, the work at home thing is an issue. I don't see how people can work at home. I know you guys probably feel the same way, but how do you work in your house with your kids? You got to concentrate. You got to be out there. You got to work with other people. You got to engage and get ideas from other people. How do you sit at home in front of a screen talking to someone? That's got to end.
I know a lot of people disagree with it, but it's a matter of fact. Unfortunately,
I think it'll end pretty soon. I think in 2 years from now, the culture's going to shift back to people going into the office. They're going to miss that. Maybe Fridays, maybe not so much on Fridays, people are going to come back to work. New York's going to be strong again, and it's a huge part of our portfolio. And I'm really so excited about 9 West 57th Street and the Con Edison site.
Let me ask you.
Sorry, Freedom Plaza.
So, all right. Well, I'll get to Freedom Plaza, but I want to ask you. Like, you bought these railroads. You're doing all these solar power, companies and factories. Do you think you would have been able to do that if you hadn't sold the residential portfolio?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, look, we're in the hottest industry out there. We're in the hottest industry. I would say agriculture, commodities, transportation, we're set up right now. Now that we have 110 car train siding, I can't stress it enough, but last night we loaded it. So let me just tell you about the train came into NA Junction, UP, Union Pacific, brought it to us. Our guys took the power 120 miles on my short line. How'd I get on the rail? This short line was being scrapped by a company in Utah. They were going to rip up the steel. They paid $8 million. They'd have flipped it for $30 million. I went in front of the Surface Transportation Board in Washington, and they said, okay, you're going to run it. You're going to help these communities. They awarded it to me. It was the first forced sale of railroad since '74. I revamped it. I put up a grain facility. We have 4 feeder facilities for that grain facility, and we're doing things different. So, you know, the railroad.
Those are like major investments in industries that you're not generally.
It was an $8 million forced sale. I paid what they paid, which was a discounted price.
How much was it?
$8 million for a 120-mile line.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you know, it's an industry that you.
But look what it did. It connected the grain, where all the grain in the country comes from in western Kansas, where all the grain comes from, western Kansas, eastern Colorado. This line went right there, and then it goes to Pueblo. And in the train industry, you haul it to Pueblo, and then UP or BN, Burlington Northern, picks it up, and they will deliver it to whatever destination I want to go to. And that's it. It's going to make the farmers so much more money. Our company's going to thrive because, hey, we have 175,000 acres we're operating out there, you know?
Yep.
So we needed it too. I mean, we filled this Milo train last night. I mean, this Milo train came in. It was 36 hours. No one slept. Everyone worked. You know, I shut the final valve off. I was covered in dust. And we celebrated it. We broke a bottle over the train. It was our first one. My guys out there, you know, in Kansas, Colorado, I can't say enough about them. Working with them is so much fun. And, you know, I think we have just an amazing chance to really create something special.
Do you plan on reinvesting in New York City or buying any new assets?
Right now in New York City, we own 9 West 57th Street, which I'm going to make as good as I can. I'm going to fill it up, and I'm going to do everything I can to make it the #1 commercial building in the world. The tenants have a relation. I've contacted every single chairman that's worked in that building, and I have a rapport with them. We're going to try to fill up the last 12%, which should be really easy. 9 West 57th Street is my priority in New York. Freedom Plaza is my priority in New York. No, I'm not looking at buying any other buildings in New York right now.
There's this flight to sort of new buildings, especially for office towers. You see Hudson Yards doing really well, or you know, they say,
yeah, really?
Yeah, they say they're doing well. The commercial part of it, like they're getting very high rents for Hudson Yards, and there's a lot of tenants leaving 3rd Avenue and Park Avenue and 6th Avenue and coming to Hudson Yards and to newer buildings. Yes,
really?
I mean, that's happening. And are you worried about that competition with all this new sort of commercial?
When I take 9 West 57th Street and I look at Hudson Yards, I'm not concerned about anything.
Okay. And what about Freedom? What about the Freedom Plaza?
What about Freedom Plaza? You want to talk about Freedom Plaza?
So Freedom Plaza is supposed to be, it's supposed to have a casino component, and it's supposed to have a multifamily and a hotel, and it's supposed to be a sort of a multiplex, basically.
Yes. So let's talk about Freedom Plaza. So it's an old Con Edison site my father purchased with the Fisher brothers. He ended up owning it, the whole thing, and it sat there. To his credit, he didn't develop. There were some times, we went through 2007, ag was flying at that time, but that's beside the point. 2007, 2008, it was a real tough time for, other markets and the economy, and we waited, and I was glad that he waited. We wanted to find the perfect thing to do with Freedom Plaza. Our renderings, our plans on the casino are so unique. It's so beautiful. We're going to put in a casino. We're going to create 5,000 if we get the license. Someone's going to have a casino in New York, whether it's me or not. I think that I can do it better than anyone, and here's why. We're going to put in a massive hotel and casino. The casino's going to be underground. You're going to have a 5-acre park, a soccer field. It's going to be beautiful. It's an entertainment district. 1,700 apartments, 30% of them will be rent controlled.
Do you think the city is generally inclined on projects like that to work with the people who are present in the city, like the Relateds and the Brookfields who are in and out of City Hall for whatever reason?
Yeah.
Do you think they're more likely to get those licenses than someone like you?
I don't know. I mean, look, if it's done on merit, I really think our plants are the best. I mean, look, what do you guys think? I mean, look at our renderings. Look at what we're offering, and look at what we're turning a part of Manhattan into, an entertainment district in a dead area. Manhattan needs a little jump right now. You guys need a little jump in your economy here. This casino, this project, this will give you that jump.
I really hope New York City doesn't have to rely on a casino to give us a jump.
Well,
because personally,
it's an
I think
casino. It's under. You're not going to see it.
Which is great. That's a good part.
It'll be top of the line casino. I know you don't like casinos. I get it. But someone's going to get it.
I get it.
And it's perfect for my site.
Right. And where is the site exactly, so people can have a sense of where Freedom Plaza is?
It's 40th Street to 38th.
And what are the blocks? So
you're right on the East River. You're right off the East River.
Right.
Yeah.
And who are you planning to partner with on the casino portion?
We're partnering with Mohegan Sun.
With Mohegan Sun.
And we already did that, yeah. And they're amazing people. We went up to Groton and into Mohegan Sun, met all the people there. What an amazing group of people. And vetting these casino companies, having all these Vegas casinos, to choose from, because everyone saw our plans, and we had a lot of people running at us. We chose Mohegan Sun because they are, in my opinion, the best run casino. We really see eye to eye on this project, and they're great people, and I'm excited to work with them.
If you don't get the license, what do you plan to do with the land?
Well, right now it's zoned for, it can be a medical park, it can be apartment buildings, there's a lot of things that it can be. But right now, I don't think like that. I think I'm getting the license, and I think that, maybe I'm not, but hey, that's how I go into it. I don't think about what if I lose. I try not to lose.
But no matter what, you're going to activate that parcel of land, whether it's the casino or anything else.
What's that? Thank you, guys.
But you plan to activate the parcel no matter what, whether it's going to be the casino or multifamily, but something's going to happen there.
The casino's going to happen there.
The casino's going to happen. Okay, fair enough. This Stefan has his kids here. They're taping him.
Yeah, and this is Hayden, my vice chairman. He's in the Atlantic region. Stand up, come on, stand up, Hayden. And he's at NYU right now. I'm so proud of him. He's just an amazing kid. And my older kids, I had them young. We're kind of like brothers. Him, Quentin, Carson, Christian. They're all really, they're my best friends. And they mean the world to me. And my daughter, Sydney, same thing. She's right there. She's a model. She's beautiful. Come on, get up.
I'm curious, obviously you worked with your father for a long time. He had a history of being one of the most litigious people in New York City real estate history. Did you have to deal with that side of him, or was that sort of reserved for work only?
Well, it was not reserved for work only, no. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I tell it as it is. It was difficult. It was tough. And, my brother and I went through a lot. And, I'm writing a book, and, certain things will come out in the book. But, it wasn't, look, if someone comes up to me, and I'm younger, say, oh, look at you, you're so lucky. I wish I could be like you. You have all the money in the world. You don't, the happiest days of my life were when I was in a track home in Wichita with my wife, just married. I don't need money. Money's not important. I want to win. I want to build this ad company and make it amazing. And I really think I can because of people I have. But money, it just doesn't mean much to me.
You guys also invested a lot in the North Fork of Long Island,
yes,
and also in Shelter Island, and you did some really interesting projects there. You brought these vintners from Napa to create wonderful wines for the.
Wait, what about Napa? Sorry.
Didn't you bring some vintners from Napa?
No. So He's talking about the Atlantic region. My son is telling me we did. I don't pay attention a lot to the Atlantic region. It's the North Fork of Long Island. This kid's running this with another guy, and he's done a great job. Look, we got 1,000 acres roughly. Some of it is agri.
You have 1,000 acres in the North Fork.
Yeah. So here's how it happened. A friend of mine from East Hampton. So just so you guys know, when I worked here, when I came back from out west at 26, from 26 to 46, I lived in East Hampton and commuted to the city 4 days a week. I drove in because I needed to be that separated from it at night and decompress from those days. 1 week doing that, 1 week running my company out west. So I spent some time in East Hampton, when other people weren't, in the winter, when no one was there in the 2000s. It's an amazing place. A friend of mine and I went up to the North Fork every year, and we'd look around. And I was like, okay, this place is gonna explode soon. Wait for the right time. And then I saw all these properties on the market, and I did the same thing. A federally subsidized farm credit loan allowed me to buy 1,000 acres, a lot of them with development rights. And I said 5 years ago, I'm gonna try and farm it and make it work that way. We're still farming it. We're gonna farm the farmland. We're gonna be building some beautiful houses up there pretty soon.
And you're also talking about bringing a 5-star resort to, is that happening or?
Yeah, I mean, Hayden's handling that. My wife was running it my ex-wife was running it for a while. She's in New York now.
By the way, I really appreciate people who have a business relationship with their ex-wives.
She's amazing.
That's a
she's
real
my best
testament.
friend. She's 100% my best friend. And I just called her this morning about a personal issue. She helps me with a lot of things. She was running it. We're opening wine bars in New York City. Some in some buildings that we had, and some in new places. And it'll basically be produced from Long Island. We have about 250 acres of grapes there that we'll process and bottle and sell in New York. But I also just bought a vineyard south of my house in Sacramento, where it's another place I spend a lot of time. And that has 30 different varieties. So that'll be sent back to New York. And look, you're not going to make money in wine like you will with grain. But since we have the property on Long Island, it has to be ag, some of it. That's going to be grapes. That's going to be our priority, and that's going to turn into a profitable business. It's not going to be like my grain business, but it's going to be a profitable business. The exciting thing on the North Fork, and you all know this, is I can build homes, and I'm going to build homes, and I'm going to build beautiful homes up there.
You have a lot of different businesses, the railroads, the grains, the agro farming, and all that stuff. Are any of them as profitable as the New York real estate?
That's a great question. So the resi properties, they were okay. 9 West 57th Street is a cash cow. It's an absolutely well-run building. Do I see the ag building eventually going like this and eventually going like this? Yeah, absolutely. I'll say right now, by the time I'm dead, and 30 years from now, that thing will be like Archer Daniels Midland if I can do what I want to do with it. If I can get vessels. If I can take my grain and my neighbor's grain and my producers in my area's grain and I can put it on 110 cars, I have the option to go anywhere in the world because I can go to a port and I can sell to Taiwan. I can sell to Japan. I can sell the wheat anywhere. And then you're going, remember that Kansas City price? Remember the lower price in my area? If I can deliver far and I make more money, I'm kicking it back to my farmers who know me on the ground level.
But as of right now, the New York real estate is
9 West 57th Street.
That one asset is enough to, that's more profitable than all the other businesses.
9 West 57th
wow,
Street. Oh, absolutely.
You don't want to do more 9 West 57? Seems like a good business.
You know what? Have me back here in 10 years and we'll see about that, right?
All right, fair enough. I'm going to wrap it up. Any final thoughts, Stefan?
I will say this. When you're a disruptor in an industry like the grain industry, and again, I want you guys to realize one more time, your revenues of your 2 biggest New York real estate firms are $1.5 billion. I have giants I'm competing against, $100 billion revenues a year. Think about how powerful they are and think about what they think about me. I'm a disruptor, and sometimes disruptors, you know, people look for anything to say things about you, and you know what? I don't pay attention to it. It's part of the game. When I entered the grain business and I knew people would be against me, and look, it took me 18 years to get this siding. Things are going to be said, you know, you guys see me for who I really am, and you know, stay tuned, because it's going to get more exciting.
Stefan, I know it's you don't do this normally, so I really appreciate you coming on here. You're a brave man for doing it. This is your first time.
Thank you,
I think
Amir.
you knocked it out of the park.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, and it's funny because I called him last night, and I was like, "Where are you?" And I heard all these trains and stuff going by. He was like, "I'm 3 hours outside of Denver." I was like, "Well, you have to come for the interview in 12 hours." He was like, "Don't worry, I'll be there." So I really appreciate you making the effort.
I keep my commitments. I keep my word. My word is my strongest thing, and
well, I appreciate that.
I wasn't going to miss it.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you,
I
guys.
appreciate it. Thank you guys so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks, man.